Good morning, everyone. I am Tawhida Jackson, the Director of the Hartford Partnership for Student Success, and I want to welcome everyone this morning, the HPSS leadership team, Mayor Bronin, Superintendent Torres Rodriguez, Jay Williams, President of the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, Paula Gilberto, the President of the United Way of Central and Northeastern Connecticut, Aetna, the Hartford, Chairman Stallings and other board members, HPSS designates, Charlene Russell Tucker, Chief Operating Officer for the Department of Education, State Department of Education, lead agencies, partners, funders, parents, and all other stakeholders. Thank you for attending this morning. I'm pleased to announce that this morning we had our leadership team meeting, and the Hartford Partnership for Student Success leadership team just signed another MOU for a one-year period to support the work of not only community schools, but broader student success initiatives across the district and the city. So that is exciting. But in addition to that, the Hartford Partnership for Student Success has committed and has been committed to community schools work and larger partnership work and student success work for almost 10 years now. In 2007, they include both core supporters and the Hartford Community Schools, the City of Hartford Public Schools, Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, the United Way of Central and Northeastern Connecticut, and other lead investors of Hartford communities, of Hartford schools such as Aetna and the Hartford. HPSS is committed to increasing family, school, and community partnership and for Hartford students and opportunities for them to have experiences of student success. This has been accomplished primarily through the supporting the development of Hartford community schools, and the community school model is recognized nationally as an evidence-based strategy for equitable school improvement. Community schools are neighborhood schools. Through multiple partnerships, they offer students instructional services, supplemented by wraparound services, offered not only during the school day, but also after school. Hartford community schools include Asian Studies Academy at Belize, Alfred E. Burr School, Thurman L. Milner, Hartford Magnet Trinity College Academy, Burns Latino Studies Academy, and West Middle Elementary and Middle Grades Academy. In partnership with each school's principals, lead agencies, a lot of who are represented here, they work closely with the school to be able to meet the needs of all students and families. Our lead agencies include Compass Youth Collaborative, Catholic Charities, the Village for Families and Children, Boys and Girls Clubs of Hartford. We work together to coordinate multiple partner agencies, and they also work to deliver student support services at each school with other community-based organizations. Today, we are here to highlight the most recent efforts of not only the Hartford Community Schools, but look at the evaluation that has been released for the 2015-2016 school year. The evaluation, which was put together by our independent evaluator, Acknowledge, celebrates almost 10 years of a successful journey for Hartford Community Schools, and we look forward to, through our commitment today, really solidifying an additional one-year memorandum of understanding, but also a long-term commitment to not only community schools, but providing student success opportunities for all students in the district. We will have our mayor of the city, Mayor Luke Bronin, come up and say a few words about the city's commitment to this work and to the Hartford Partnership for Student Success.
Thank you, Tawhida, and good morning, everybody. It is great to be with you this morning, and I was honored to be able to join our partners in recommitting to this 10-year effort, the Hartford Partnership for Student Success. And I want to thank the primary partners, Superintendent, the Hartford Public School District, Jay Williams, our new chairman or chief director of the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, who has thrown himself into his work, and we are so grateful for your presence and your commitment to the city and to the foundation, and to the United Way, and Paula, thank you for your long-standing and tireless efforts in this arena. Looking around this room, as Tawhida mentioned, I also see representatives of all of our lead agencies in the community schools, and so I want to say thank you to you for the tremendous work that you do. And I'd also like to acknowledge former Mayor Thurman Milner, who I see here, who not only gave his name to one of our not only gave his name to one of our community schools, but also gives a tremendous amount of his time and his heart. So thank you, Mayor, for everything that you do. The school district And under Dr. Torres Rodriguez's leadership, I think this work is happening more than ever, has been doing a lot to highlight and to diagnose the particular challenges that our district faces, that our children face, in partnership with our Department of Children and Families, led by our Department Director, Kim Oliver. There have been some really groundbreaking forums this year, looking at issues like trauma, toxic stress, those unseen but incredibly powerful barriers that so many of our students face. And what I'm so proud of is that our city and our district are not just working together to identify and highlight those challenges, but to build partnerships to try to combat those problems and solve them. And I think there is no question that many cities around the country share our challenges. Many school districts share those challenges. But what sets Hartford apart are the partners and the partnerships that we have. The fact that for 10 solid years, the United Way and the Hartford Foundation have been working in this effort. The fact that the lead agencies who are represented in force here today have had such a tremendous commitment to the community schools and to that effort. And I think the fact that all of those partners are committed not just to maintaining what's been done, but to constantly evaluating, to constantly looking at where we can improve our efforts and committing ourselves to doing better. Always looking in the mirror, figuring out where we've succeeded and where we've fallen short, trying to use data better than we have in the past, trying to make sure that we are holding ourselves to a high standard. And so I am tremendously proud of the partnerships that are here and tremendously grateful. On behalf of the city, we are primarily in a supporting role, and we support with everything we can the work of the school district as you lead the single most important effort in this city, which is to make sure that every child, no matter how they do in a lottery, no matter what neighborhood they grew up in, and no matter what school they attend, has the opportunity to succeed. So thank you all. And I saved for last my recognition and introduction of another tremendous partner in this effort, our chairman of the Board of Education, Craig Stallings, who has been a fierce advocate for many years and is now a vital leader and partner in this effort. So, Mr. Chairman, it's an honor to turn the microphone over to you and ask you to come join and celebrate today's renewal of this longstanding partnership.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll just be brief. I snuck in the back of the room. I, too, just want to acknowledge, and I'm going to get in trouble because I do it all the time. I'm busy, but I just want to acknowledge Senator Milner. Senator Milner to me, former Mayor Milner to everyone else, but I used to work for him when I was a 19-year-old bright-eyed kid. So a lot of the politics that I've learned, a lot of things that I'm doing now, I've learned directly from him. So I just want to say thank you and acknowledge him. I also want to acknowledge my board members. The Secretary of the Board, Mr. Julio Flores in the back, and Kim Oliver sitting here. So I want to thank you also for being here. And really, I just want to say, as a product of a community school, that community schools are important. They're vital to the success of our city. And as you know, with the financial climate that we have in our state, in our city, community schools are more important than ever. Because not only are they a hub of our neighborhoods, but if we increase and improve our community schools, that will encourage home ownerships, will expand our tax base. So they're vital that we make sure we support our community schools and we work together, building capacity with our parents, building capacity in our communities, so that we can have quality education, quality schools, and a quality neighborhood. So the best way for us to work together, and if we're committed to the welfare of our city, we need to support our community schools. We need to make sure that we are involved. From a board perspective, we are trying to make sure we form policy that's going to support the superintendent as she does this work, as she leads the work, and so in aiding your community organizations to help move that achievement gap, to make sure that our students are truly being educated. And what we need is a hell of a lot more of commitment, excuse my language, but we need more commitment from our community. We need you to go out and find 5 people that are going to come and support the work that we're doing. So it's not about you sitting here. It's not about celebrating an MOU. It's about now getting encouraged to go out and do the work, encouraging parents to support the work, encouraging parents to support their children and support teachers. So we need more than just, the run-of-the-mill work that we've been doing. And I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm simply saying that we have to impress on everyone the urgency of this work. And I am somewhat defensive only because you hear, and I'm getting this more as school begins to open, but you hear people talk about what we can't do. You hear people talk about how bad and horrible our schools are. You hear about the negative connotations that people put on our teachers and our students. And that's all a lie. Those are all lies. We have some of the best students in the state. We have some of the best teachers in the state. We have some of the best administrators in the state. We have wonderful community partners. We have a beautiful network. And all we need to do is stir it up, commit to working together, commit to trusting one another. Like the superintendent said, change only happens at the speed of trust. And that only is going to happen if we focus on what we have in common, which is the babies, our babies. Black, white, Hispanic, they're all our babies. Asian, they're all our babies. From whatever country, from whatever community, from whatever background, from whatever language, they're our babies. And we need to declare that. We need to be serious about it. We need to be serious about our city. And we need to be serious about change. Change starts with yourself, it starts with me, and it starts with you. I'm committed to change. As you can see, I'm trying to change, but as you can see, we all need to commit to the change. We all need to commit to being better. So I just wanted to say that. And without further ado, I want to introduce my partner, our partner to the board, a champion in this work, another product of a Hartford school system, another product of a community school, someone who exemplifies everything that we want for our children, everything that we hope for our children. So it's my pleasure to introduce our beloved superintendent, Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez.
Good morning. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. So as superintendent, you know that I have the privilege, right, to lead at what I'm calling a very unique time for all of us. Today's recommitment, right, renewal of this partnership reminds us of the complexity that we have in front of us, right? Hartford Public Schools, the district, the system is a very complex system with many interrelated parts, and that is so exciting to me, right? Because I get to kind of get on the balcony and see all of the opportunities that we have in front of us to make all of those pieces come together. And this partnership exemplifies just that. And when I think about our overarching priorities, we have 4 priorities for the district. Obviously, teaching and learning, right? That's at the core of what we do. But in this new version, if you will, of the strategic operating plan, we have elevated family and community partnerships right alongside teaching and learning. That is how much we value, right, the commitment that we all have to the work that we're doing. And there are 2 other priorities that are foundational to the work. That's making sure that we have organizational excellence and operational effectiveness, making sure that internally we do what we said we were going to do and that we do it well and with precision, which calls for what the mayor spoke about, right, an ability to step back, reflect, and examine what we do courageously, so that we can then improve on our efforts. And the last priority is around systemic accountability. That comes alongside of the data piece, right? And making sure that not only are we qualifying, but we're quantifying the work that we're doing so that we can have measurable outcomes in service of our students and their families. And as I think about the implementation of community schools, that partnership has offered a framework that as we go courageously and collaboratively into the work of redefining and restructuring our district, the framework is going to be at the core of what we do, given our commitment to a whole child approach to how we educate our children, right? Making sure that, yes, we address the academic needs of our students, but all of the other elements that encompass a human being, our children. And so the partnership for us provides the foundation for that work moving ahead. And families have often told us that the community school model serves as a stabilizing force to the many uncertainties, right, that surround many of our families, making sure that there's an opportunity for our students while in school and after school to have additional supports. The community schools focus on culture, climate, academic achievement, school and family success, truly aligns what it is that we want to continue to move forward throughout the entire system. And so as I lead in our efforts to reimagine and restructure who we are as a district and ultimately as a city, do know that this model, the Hartford Partnership for Student Success, is going to be at the core. So I'm calling on myself, on our leaders, on all of you to join me as we courageously redefine who we are on behalf of our students. Thank you. I am going to now introduce Hartford Foundation for Public Giving President Jay Williams.
Good morning. My wife and I, along with our soon-to-be 7-year-old son and my mother, are 4 weeks into our new life here in Hartford, Connecticut. And while we are new to the area, we are not new to the challenges that this community is facing. For 92 years, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving has been lifting up, advancing, investing in the quality of life and well-being of this community. And for a significant number of those years, education has been a priority of the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving. And while there's been a change in the leadership of the foundation, there is no change in its commitment to making sure that educational opportunity, equity, engagement in this community remains the thing that stands at the top of our agenda. Whether or not you have a child in the Hartford Public Schools, you have a stake in the Hartford Public Schools. And I appreciate what the chairman of the Board of Education was saying. We don't have a choice as to whether our children will grow, age, and matriculate through some educational system. What we do have a choice about is whether or not we put our efforts, our energy, and our resources into creating a system that cultivates learners, intellectual curiosity, that provides the support that so many of us take for granted, that so many years ago, the support that we saw in our homes, or the support that we saw in our neighborhoods, or the support that we saw in our communities, that allowed us to accomplish the things that we accomplished, that allowed us to recover from the mistakes that we all made, that allowed us to be here today and do the things that we're doing. We take for granted and assume that those things still exist in so many of our neighborhoods and our households, and unfortunately they don't. For reasons that aren't worth debating, we know the current situation and current environment requires a response that, again, to the credit of the chairman of the board, causes us to understand that fierce urgency, or as Dr. King referred to, the fierce urgency of now. This is a long-term prospect. This doesn't happen overnight. We've become so accustomed to getting our information instantly, our gratification instantly. There's on these devices, just about anything you want can happen with a push of a button or a swipe of a thumb. That doesn't happen when you talk about transforming educational systems. So to the extent that we all have a vested role in supporting the vision of Dr. Torres Rodriguez, to the extent that we all sat around that table as partners, recommitting ourselves in writing, which is an important step, but more critically, the work that is necessary. It isn't pretty, it isn't convenient, it isn't easy, it isn't fun, but nothing in life worth having ever is. So I'm just can't tell you how thrilled I am to have a team and a staff that has been working at this for a number of years. And the fact that I have the privilege and the opportunity to serve as a president to help empower them to do what they do better, to make sure that we're taking a look at our role, we're becoming more tolerant of risk, that we're going to lean in as the foundation, not only utilizing the vast fiscal resources that we have and using them appropriately and judiciously, but the thought leadership, the ability to convene, the ability to look at a situation and say, what happens if we would make that decision, or if we move in that direction, and then learning from those things. The model that we had a chance to hear about earlier this morning and see the demonstrable success is absolutely encouraging, but it is not enough. And I will end by using what I heard one of my staff, Sarah Sneed, who is one of our leads on this issue, is that we've seen change, and change is good, but change is not momentum. It's important that we establish that momentum so that in the coming years we see the equity available in the community schools. We see the superintendent's efforts and desire to reduce the variance and the disparities between community schools. That no matter what neighborhood, what zip code, what background, what community you come from, that the school that is in the neighborhood that provides the educational opportunities and the life opportunities for our children ultimately does so in a way that gives them the greatest chance of success. So again, we're a month into what I am certain will be a multi-year engagement and commitment to this community, living, working, playing, just immersing ourselves in this. And I can tell you that, I look at this not only through the lens of a resident of this community and a resident of a community that face very similar challenges. I look at this as through the lens of a parent who am blessed and fortunate to have a 7-year-old son who has a supportive environment, but knowing that he has friends or playmates that look like him, that may not look like him, but that don't have that same opportunity environment, and understanding that while my wife and I have currently one biological child, the tens of thousands of students in the Hartford Public Schools are also now our responsibility, and not in the sense of a burden, but our privilege and opportunity. So it is my privilege to introduce one of the partners who I've had an opportunity to meet and to know, and I look forward to working with, the president of the Northeast United Way, Paula Gilberto. Thank you.
I'm not quite sure what there is to say after all of that. So I just want to first, if we just take a moment and pause and acknowledge the chairman of our Board of Education, our superintendent of schools, our mayor, and our president of the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving for all of their comments. If we just could, for a moment. I'm feeling a little sheepish. Where's Tawhida? So Tawhida did a great job of preparing all of us for this, and just forgive me, I'm going to go off script, right? It's just that kind of a moment. Back in 2007, many of us got together to develop a community school model, a framework, a vision. And while the personnel may have changed at any number of levels, the commitment of the founding organizations has not wavered. And that's hugely important. And it's hugely important in any community, but particularly a community like Hartford. And I just want you to pause on that, because we need to stop worrying about what may happen. We need to stop worrying about who's in and who's not in. We need to let go of the kind of uncertainty that is swirling around us, and we need to be personally responsible. And we need to affirm the responsibility and the commitment of each of us who work for organizations that bring resources to the table. That this is our moment, this is our time, and it is up to us to take hold of it and to take charge. We need to let go of the kinds of things that are out of our control, and we need to commit every day, over and over and over again, that every child, every family in this community is going to be given every opportunity to succeed. I've been thinking about this a lot. There's been a lot of stuff that's been swirling around in Hartford, in the state, and in the country. And this is a time when it is up to us to lead from whatever position we're in. Personally, as a member of a family, as a member of a community, and as a member of organizations. I also want to say that while it's great that all of us as organizations are being acknowledged, and thank you on behalf of all of those who've made a contribution to United Way to make this work possible, and thank you to all of the volunteers that United Way and others are able to mobilize. Great. But you are the ones that are making it happen on the ground. So it feels a little awkward to be up here because you are the ones that make it happen. It is about Compass. It is about the Village. It is about Boys and Girls Club. It is about Catholic Charities. It's about all of the community providers. We're the ones that are hopefully trying to remove obstacles and trying to raise the resources, but you're the ones that are doing the hard work. Don't give up. Don't give up. This is about resiliency. I remember a short time ago, the mayor and I had a conversation, around some of the challenges that the city's facing. And you commented on the fact that while the here and now is hugely important, it's also important that we create and enhance a Hartford that's resilient. Commit to that and let go of this other stuff. And when you falter in your commitment, because all of us have those days or those moments, reach out and get recharged by another community partner. That's what's going to make change in this community, and that's what's going to give children and family hope. Forgive me, Tauhida. There are huge results, so please read the report and please get in touch with folks in terms of all that you've accomplished as individual organizations and as a collective whole. So I don't want to downplay the results, but this is about people first and foremost. We're the ones that make it happen. So with that, I want to acknowledge and bring back to the podium Tauhida.
I just want to thank everyone once again. To Paula's point, it takes everyone sitting in this room, our families, our students, and the larger community, and that's the point of community schools. Community schools serve as a hub of the community, and really thinking about not obstacles, but opportunities. What are the opportunities that we can provide for our students, for our families? And families tend to be the first teachers of our students, and really thinking about what they bring to the table and what assets they have, and look at our communities as asset-rich resources, not a place that we can always give to or fulfill a need. So really thinking about what are those things that we can lift up, how we can leverage the impact of not only the partners around here, the fiscal resources, but leverage the impact of each other and leverage the impact of our communities as we move forward to be able to face some challenging times. But I think in the midst of challenge, Hartford is strong. Hartford has always been strong. Working in this community, I'm proud to work in Hartford. Be able to really think about how you're contributing to Jay Williams' point, even if you don't live here, if your child doesn't go here. The schools that we have in Hartford should be good enough for any of our children to go there, any of our students to go there. And I believe with all of the educators we have, all of the community-based organizations, all of the work that we do every day, we can do it together. And I just wanted to acknowledge Nishette Blackburk. A lot of the times we talk about on the ground, she is the circuit rider and the person who keeps us all in line. And a lot of times we see the work, but we don't see all that it takes, the operational stuff that it takes to get. And partnership work is hard. It's not easy work, but it's worth it, and it's also really rewarding at the end. We stand on the backs of a lot of hard work, of a lot of people who put this in place. We have our technical assistance provider, Jane Quinn, sitting here. She provides a lot of technical assistance and best practice for us to be able to not work in a silo, but understand nationally the impact of this work and how we can move it forward. And then I just want to also acknowledge one more time for putting together all of the data and not only being very truthful about the success, but truthful about some of the challenges that we have and some of the opportunities that we can look to move forward with. So thank you to all of you for coming out, and I will take a few minutes. If any of the press has questions, we can answer questions.
Are there any plans to increase the level of mental health services in the community schools? Because that was identified as one of the most important factors in some of the progress identified in the report.
So as we know, we have students who deal with trauma and deal with mental health issues within our schools. And that is one of the key components that we have in community schools. Health services is one of the key components. So not just mental health, physical health, behavioral health. When we look at scaling up, we have within our report, the data that we have in our report, we look to scale up best practices. So we have mental health providers across the system, but I think when you look at a school like Milner, some of the new and innovative ways that they're serving their students, we're looking to definitely scale up some of the practices that we see. So we know that students can't come to school and just sit in a seat to be able to do the teaching and learning piece if all of the other needs aren't being met. So definitely mental health services is one of the key components components that we are looking at and looking to scale up.
Are there any other changes in the program as part of the memorandum
So community schools is a strategy that has programs and services within the strategy. It is a holistic strategy, so it's a whole school strategy where it's not just after school, but during the day interventions. We are committed to family engagement. We're committed to making sure that we're serving the needs of the students that need us most, that have some other obstacles or challenges that may be presented when we look at SPED students and students that have ELL needs. We also are looking at some of the academic enrichments and tutorial services that have been offered that have been successful, to scale those up across the system. So I think we're at a good place to say that we are reaffirming our commitment to community schools, but also committing to the power of partnership and really looking at the further development of the things that we have seen to work well, not only in community schools, but within our larger system.
And how important is this effort to the community schools?
I'm sorry,
How important is this effort to the community schools?
this current
The Hartford Partnership.
The Hartford Partnership for Student Success provides not only financial resources, but also human resources to be able to sustain this strategic approach. So really thinking about, not only do we have funders at the table, but we have public and private partnership and stakeholders with our community-based organizations, families, and other people who support this work. So the partnership is the nucleus, and I think is key, because you obviously need a financial engine and a structure to be able to think about the strategic priorities of the work. But it takes a holistic system of people on the ground within our communities. It takes work at the district level, and then also the leadership level. So the Hartford Partnership for Student Success has been in existence for almost 10 years, and I think has been the backbone of this work, and really has, like I said, not only been a financial resource, but also has dedicated their time and commitment as institutions, both individually and collectively, to be able to support the work.
So, we're headed into a period of school redesign and consolidation, we all know that. Did you notice any impact on the services and impact of Clark School essentially being split up during the period of time that the report analyzed?
So Hartford Partnership for Student Success, I think that although that was a very trying time for this community, because schools exist within the communities, but they also are a part of the community, they're the heart of the community. And when Clark closed, I think one of the proudest moments for me as being the director of the partnership is that the partnership responded. The students and the families that were receiving services and programs at Clark were afforded opportunity to continue to receive those services as they moved over to the Wish School. I think that is one of the biggest opportunities when we look at partnership and how partnership works, because we had everyone from Salvation Army to the Village to all of the community-based organizations that were on the ground helping to support our families through that. As Dr. Torres Rodriguez mentioned, families look at the community school model as a sustaining force during a time of change. So although that was a trying period, there were instances where we look at the support of Wish School, although it's not technically designated as a community school, because it is the community's prerogative to be able to have a process to be able to officially designate a community school. We involve SGC, we involve families, we involve partners. So we don't necessarily just name a school a community school. But I think when we look at Wish, it's an opportunity when we talk about larger than community schools, we call it a partnership model, to really look at what are some of those practices that we were able to take from the Clark situation and replicate it at Wish without it being a full complement of community school services. So those families and students were still served in a way that I think Hartford Partnership can be proud to say that they were consistent and were responsive. It's responsive grant making at its best, to really think about how they responded to the need of a community in real time.
Can you just talk a little bit about what do you see as some of the biggest challenges moving forward?
I think we all know there are fiscal challenges, right? But I think we can call that out, but we also can look at how we can leverage the opportunities that we have. As we move forward and reimagine what community schools will be and can be, I think that there is opportunity for other stakeholders to come to the table and to really think about what their piece in the work is, whether it's funders, whether it is people giving in-kind services, whether it's volunteers, because this is not just about writing the check, right? It's the commitment of what you can do at your best and how you can bring your best forward to be able to commit to the larger framework of what community schools are and the school improvement in general. So I think that when we look forward, of course, there are fiscal challenges, not only at the city level, at the school district, at the state level, but I think, like I said, Hartford is strong, and Hartford will remain strong, and I'm sure of that because we have been in situations where we pull together at our best, when we feel like there are trying times. So although we have those challenges, the partnership is committed to having a longstanding commitment, but I think the larger community is also committed and has been committed.